Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dutch StarCraft League Bootcamp here on the 22nd and 23rd of November 2014. With me is Jona, I am Grubby, and we are the coaches for the day, coaching 6 people who qualified through 6 individual qualifying tournaments, all with a level of Diamond player. We're now in our 3rd team of the day.
Okay, so this is the third team of the day. We're gonna discuss timings, not only timings, because this is a different matchup than the 2 matchups we had before. So some of the themes we earlier spoke about will come back a little bit in this match or team as well, just because this is a different matchup and there's a lot of things I think we both want to say to the players. More you probably than me, because I don't play PvT. I know enough about the matchup to say things that make sense, but I think you know a lot more specifics. But yeah, so mainly timings. We're gonna especially focus on it during the game itself, but after the game you're going to hear a lot of other small details and things that might come up that are worth looking at.
Yeah, and if you are watching this on YouTube, this is all going to be uploaded on youtube.com/DSCL League. DSC League, of course, no double L, rip in peace. youtube.com/DSC League. If you are watching this on YouTube, the previous 2 themes were build orders and scouting and countering, respectively. Those should be up as well. You can watch them. And the next 2 will be expansion and economy management, and also finally positions and positioning and fight positioning. For now, we are here in timings, and timings basically it's about when to take your expansion. Actually, that's like one of the most common questions I get when I coach people.
When to take your 3rd, especially.
Yeah, when I take 2nd, 3rd, right?
Yeah.
They don't talk much about the 4th.
No, 4th is like kind of, people just kind of throw it down whenever they have money, but the 3rd seems very specific always, and I think the 3rd timings are the most, they play a big role, but they're also adjustable in all the matchups. So there's no set timing for it, like the natural, which is also very important, but they are very important in coming down at the right moment, which is why a lot of people might have problems with it.
And they're scary to take, because armies are out already. Then we'll we'll also maybe touch on upgrades, transitions, and defensive timings and aggressive timings. In PvZ, you could do like a lot of all-ins, Immortal all-in or 7-gate all-in. That's an aggressive timing. But in PvT, usually Protoss will be quite defensive. They can do a lot of all-ins, and they do them on the lower levels, but there's also a lot of defensive timings, like when are the first medevacs coming up, when do you need to have your blink finished, that kind of thing. But for now, we spoke a little bit to the players. They're quite happy and ready to go into the game. They are ready and relatively confident, both. So we'll see.
That's true. One of the, do they have the white noise up yet?
White noise and StarCraft.
Okay, so they can't hear us at this point, so it's and we can say some stuff. One of the players said he was very confident and didn't really feel like there was something specific making him lose in PvT, just general, like sometimes he made some mistakes, but in general he kind of had a good feel for how PvT worked for him.
This is Genix,
the Protoss player. And the Terran player said, I asked him as well specifically what does he feel like he loses to most, and he was very prominent about his answer, which was all-ins and early game timing. So for one player, we have, of course, a lot of timing still involved, but the more obvious ones are not there because he feels like he doesn't have a problem with it. Plus, he plays very defensive, while the other player feels like he has a lot of problems with cheeses and all-ins, which is it's kind of unfortunate. He doesn't get to play a player that is cheese-orientated, as it were.
But if we get like a couple of good games out of these 2 and we still have time left, we might go the regular practice method, like the pros do it, and say, hey, can you help me do this blink all in against me? And we just kind of set it up. It won't be like a ladder points game down and dirty, win is everything, no predetermined strategy, but useful.
But very useful, exactly. Practice. So I think it's very nice for the players to experience, and it's also it's just a good experience in general, I think, for the players. Even if it's not helpful right this moment, just the experience of playing against something, knowing it's coming, and adapting to it, knowing fully, instead of having it just be ladder, is a useful thing to experience.
Isnobest said he loses to a lot of different rushes.
Yeah.
It might be that his opponents have read the Great Bible of Smart Proto Strategies on Team Liquid.
Okay, yeah.
That's how it's called officially, right?
I'm not sure.
The Great Book of Protoss BS.
Yeah. I was like.
I call it the Grand Bible of Smart Protoss Tactical Victories.
I was like unsure. It sounded wrong, but I didn't want to like call you out in it because I wasn't sure enough. But yeah.
All right. Okay.
So also one thing to note, I think I talked a bit with Isnobest and I asked a bit like what his problems were, and he just kind of had general problems. Like even if he scouted something that he couldn't hold it, and he said I asked him what he thought it had to do with, and he mentioned build orders.
Yeah, he said he would scout an Immortal incoming, make 6 bunkers, and still lose
Yeah,
to it.
so-
Lol.
Yeah. So I
That
think
feel.
a part of his problem is probably when his build order timings. Even though it sounds kind of weird to say like this, is the timings of when he throws down extra barracks, and when he produces units, and probably expansion timings as well. Because if he expands too quickly, it might be difficult to deal with certain all-ins.
Now, Genix said he mostly attacks aggressively as a reaction to early thirds from Terran. Otherwise, he feels quite comfortable getting various kinds of defense and area of effect damage. This is what we call cancel-out. If there's no eBay being planted, you can cancel the Zealot, which he does. Nexus will be thrown down. Now, let's talk a little bit about Isnobest's build. He's using a little bit of an older build. There's almost no one who still does this, which is
Only happy,
one barracks
maybe,
into CC.
sometimes.
Yeah, just happy, but he changed. After, I mean, my score against him at WCS was 3-3, but I lost to MC, so I was out. But after I abused his strategy,
In
since the WCS,
Yeah.
he has completely changed to Reaper every single game.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's so weird that he never noticed how abusable he is until after WCS.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's weird. That's very interesting.
Yeah, so he doesn't do this anymore. In fact, Isnobest may be the only player in the world who does this now.
I cannot accurately confirm that, but I cannot disconfirm it either.
Which shows it's true, literally.
Literally.
Alright, Chrono Boosted Stalker's out. He has not scouted, which, you know, when you don't scout, you save a lot of money. Your robo timing can be 10 seconds faster. You have more minerals. Everything is a little bit faster. So it is okay. Actually, his robo is a little later, but it's okay to make some concessions after you don't scout to get a higher unit count early. It kind of balances out the fact that you didn't have information to work with. So he just goes for almost the quickest possible 3 stalkers, and I kind of like it.
Okay. Isnobest made 5 Marines. He is now adding 2 more barracks, which actually looks kind of normal.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you normally have a reactor on one of the barracks, but as far as I know, I think this is kind of standard. I just think normally you start stim, not concussive shell first.
True. So what happens now, stim gets delayed by, yeah, what is it, 60 seconds? Yeah.
And stim is usually the turnaround point on all-ins, which is actually very important to notice.
True.
Usually the turnaround, or when I watch PvT, the moment where the favor switches, where the momentum swings in Terran's favor, is when stim finishes.
It's true. That might be why he's struggling against busts.
Yeah, that's already a very important thing to note.
But he will not get punished on that this game. Not this game. So the gas timings is pretty good from Genix. His robo timing is good. It's all fairly standard. 3 stalkers and an observer. What he needs is still to make a sentry probably. I think his gases are a little bit late, and he has also forgot to top off this assimilator. Oh, okay, that's what happened.
So he selected 6 and didn't...
Clicked off 1 too few to go into this gas. Isnobest said he's a very instinctual player, plays by feeling. He just scanned. Nice feeling, he found the bay.
Nice feeling, man.
That's not what was meant, right? No stim pack yet. So for StarCraft, in order to be good at StarCraft, usually being methodical is quite important to keep scaling up your skill. Otherwise you could hit a wall. And a little bit of issue now with Isnobest is that because he doesn't have a system, he has a lot of beauty mistake, like no stim pack starting.
Yes.
So even though he's difficult to anticipate for opponents, where people are like, "What are you doing? I'm so confused right now.
Yeah,
I want to go throw the game."
You don't know when he's gonna attack you, but he always attacks you with a dull knife.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like you're trying to sleep, and someone keeps throwing water on your face. It's very annoying. Maybe you'll be so tired that you can't function. It never happened to you?
No. Okay, well, Stim starts finally, and
Double
he
eBay.
gets Combat Shield now. So in his mind, he's like, well, I'm going to hit a Combat Shield Stim timing with my Medivacs, and everything turns out equally at that point. So what's cool to see that he still has a good feeling for timings, or like a decent feeling for timings, but it's very noticeable that he doesn't play by the book, and that it's actually hurting him.
Yeah. Probably, I mean, I suffer from this a little bit too. You want to like play cool or creative, and you don't have the enough stability or let's say consistency, and you're gonna get some random results. And definitely, if we look at the barracks they were not producing all the time, there is a small element which we saw in Ichiroku's play where undermaking units, if you get away with it, you may never know that it wasn't that safe.
Yeah.
Or you do know, but you don't. Weren't fully aware of it.
Yeah.
Let's say. For Genix, he's playing pretty safe. I like it.
Yeah, I think Genix is
solid.
playing quite a clean game actually, like compared to how you're supposed to play and all the buildings he has. It looks to me like a standard opening, but I can't tell if there are small differences or not.
5 gate is super standard and solid. I mean, he's got 3 probes here. He's only got 1 on this one. You know, it's small stuff like that. Late 3rd probe here, 4 here for a while. But that's all beauty mistakes.
Yeah.
In terms of the build, it's picture perfect. 1
Easy
sentry, Colossus into 2 armor and blink. It's all good. He
Okay.
Let's see what he knows though. We see 3 barracks and a starport, but he hasn't been there for a while. And ideally, at 9 or 10 minutes, you want to see, are they adding extra barracks or making a 3rd?
Yes.
In this case, it's extra barracks
And the 3rd.
after the 3rd,
Oh, after the 3rd. Okay.
which means it's quite normal. You don't. Yeah, it's a 3rd first and then extra barracks, which means his 3rd is a little late.
Yeah.
He should have made
Protoss
this
should have had a quicker 3rd.
like half a minute before.
Because the 3rd with Terran was quicker. Okay, that makes sense.
The general rule for expansion timing is that you make it when the Terran one finishes, the CC, not the orbital.
Okay. So the way I... hold on, there's a drop in the main as well going on, by the way. He's getting a lot of work done with the drops, and he's controlling them well. He seems like, even though his build might not be as sharp, he's very good at doing tricks with his dull knife, and he's making it work.
Let me sleep! So, Genix, he's just getting punished for not spreading his army out well enough. All his army was going to the main
Yeah,
base.
and he warps in Stalkers, which I think is inefficient with dealing with drops, right?
Stalkers is okay to deal with drops.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
he kept warping them, like under the drop, he warped in Stalkers. Isn't it less efficient?
under the. Oh yeah. It should be zealots to buy time.
Yeah.
When a drop like this kills 1 or 2 stalkers, it's already cost efficient,
Yeah.
even if you lose everything, because it delays the Protoss AOE by a lot, but it doesn't really delay Terran as much.
Yeah.
Issue is robo placement is poor. Basically, as a Protoss, you want to be an accordion, you know, the instrument. You want to squeeze everything to the center of your bases to get the beautiful music. What he's doing is, he's got the robo all the way at the edge, which is more like the flute song, you know, the Titanic, the poorly done flute song.
Yes.
Is that a decent analogy? Or
I have no idea, man.
too far? One bridge too far. Yeah.
No, I know what you mean.
It's too exposed. If you build everything towards the center, it's safer when your army moves left and right.
Yeah, you want to be like a middle-aged castle, everything in the center and walls around it.
Yeah. A Molten Bailey,
Yeah.
inner rampers, fall back. Yeah. Exactly. No medivacs left. We've got a lot of Vikings coming and 2-2 coming as well.
Yeah, is it standard for Terran to go double upgrades like the way Isno did? He
No.
got 2 eBays quite late, while I usually see 1 eBay early and I sometimes see a second one added later.
And he's going SCV all in when the upgrades are on average halfway. And no medivacs, which means not everything is aligned. But he thinks he can do it because of the Colossus bay cancel, the robo facility kill. This is purely a feeling by him. He thinks I've done enough, but his build, it doesn't make sense. There's Ghost Academy coming, he has 0 medivacs, 3 are coming, he's still adding barracks. This is not the timing for him to attack. And I don't think that there will be any issue for Genix to defend this, because if
unless he messes up his control like majorly, but
that's true.
Normally this shouldn't work for Terran.
He's trying to wait for charge. It won't be done, but it will be able to finish up. Now, this is a full stim and there are no medivacs. He has to kill this and run away. He can't fight.
Yeah, because his stim will run out, he has to stim again, and this army becomes too weak, right?
Yeah. I would have liked to see Protoss cut the army off, analyzing that there are no medivacs, but I'm afraid he doesn't have enough observers left. All that he sees is this.
Yeah, his vision is very restricted. He has 1 observer at the 3rd base of Terran, and then he has an observer with his army, I think, and that's it.
Yeah. Now, he has also never seen the amount of E-base, so he doesn't really know what Terran is trying to do. He only sees what he sees and can react to that. But that's, I mean...
I think this game is in a way kind of funny, because Terran literally SCV pulled.
Posture pull.
He pulled the SCV's posture with him, like, oh, watch out, I'm going to SCV pull, and then he just went back in mind.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny.
Very unusual. And now the game is going to develop adding some ghosts. Let's see. The Viking count is too low now.
Because how much Colossus does Protoss
There's not a whole lot of timing in this game anymore. But what we can say is that with the timing that Isnobest was doing the 2-2 upgrades, it didn't make sense to SCV pull.
Yeah, exactly.
It can still work, but technically wrong. Alright, this is not the timing for Genix. He's working on Storm, and there are no High Templars here.
This is a story of missed timings.
Yeah.
Except that Terran is getting out ahead when Protoss missed his timing, and Protoss didn't get to abuse Terran missing his timing. Or not hitting it, rather.
Now, in this case, let's see, he's got his 3rd up again, he can warp in High Templars, he has, this Ghost. This is just probably the most back and forth game we've had so far.
Yeah, it's actually kind of developing other than snowballing.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, but also less to talk about because there's less obvious things going wrong yet. There's small things going wrong, but naming all the little mistakes does not necessarily make for a great point.
Yeah, that's true. So let's just watch and enjoy.
So yeah. Is it normal for Protoss to leave behind Stalkers to deal with drops? I usually see Protoss leave Cannons and High Templar, but not Stalkers.
Yeah, you transition away from this defense, and then you'll put a cannon here, and here, and like 1 High Templar here, 1 here.
Because what's the advantage over using High Templar and Stalkers?
Lower supply.
Lower supply, so you have more supply in your army if you don't leave Stalkers behind.
Yeah, that's the main issue really. And plus, if Stalkers are 1 second out of position against the Doom drop, they are the prize.
Yeah.
You know, someone tries to steal the cheese from your bread, the Stalkers are the cheese.
Yeah.
These minerals aren't the cheese anymore. This is the target.
The Stalkers are the cheese.
Yeah, the Stalkers are the cheese. So here comes another attack by Isnobest. He has to scan before he goes up the ramp.
Oh, that was a good EMP on the High Templar.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another High Templar. Oh, the Storm is right in the middle of everything. I really feel like on this map you shouldn't attack here as Terran. I feel like you always come from the left normally.
G.
Yeah. GG.
GG.
Is it me or is it a really bad place to attack? I feel like attacking through the left area
is better.
Through the gold base over the left, like
because the Vikings get the location on the
little pillar, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're easier spread out.
Actually, Terrans attack here all the time, but only pre-storm.
Only pre-storm. Yeah, because you hit between the bases. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And like, they don't have to break the rocks and waste time with that.
Yeah, and they have less of a choke actually because this is quite wide, and at the 3rd base there's buildings, so you're forced more into a funnel. So that makes sense pre-storm, but once storm is out, it just doesn't seem very logical.
What can we say about this?
I think for Isnobest, even though it didn't happen in this game, it's very obvious that his build is punishable. With delaying stim so much and not going Reaper allows for a lot of openings in the early game for Protoss. So it makes total and complete sense that he dies to more early game timings than you would expect from a regular Terran player.
I think in order to make this, let's say, better practice or more realistic for both, it would make sense to, like, I think Isno best play has to change the most.
Yeah.
Genix made mistakes mostly on incorrect army split.
Yeah.
And yeah, mostly on incorrect army split, but I feel like he had a pretty good sense of what was happening.
Yeah, maybe like
more observers. Better army split.
High Templar in the main with cannons.
Transition Stalker defense in the main base away and have cannon and High Templar instead. And also, he hit one of the biggest anti-timings. Storm just finished, no High Templar yet, and move up the ramp against Terran, who just killed third and was waiting there with a big stim circle.
So for you're suggesting give Genix a few tips, but actually talk more in depth about.
Let's talk to them. They kind of heard it already, I think, but I think what would be useful is I whisper some sweet nothings to Genix, and we go give Isno a little surprise.
Okay. Do we have the microphones?
They have.
Oh, they have. Okay.
Guys, good games. What were you thinking when you move up the ramp after he killed your third? Like, did you expect an SCV timing when it did, and you pulled back into your natural, then suddenly it was gone, only killed third?
Yeah, I've seen that once before. And yeah, I thought he would just go for the kill, but he didn't. He just killed my third and went away again. I was a little bit surprised, but yeah. My main mistake was the drops that I didn't defend and I didn't saw it coming.
Maybe you can have the robo facility in the middle between your two bases rather than at the edge, which is most likely to get dropped.
Yeah.
And when it died, then adjust. Don't make it in the same place, because it was already a bad place. But I think you played very, very solid build-up. Chronoboost Stalker, do you do that because you don't scout and you just want to make sure you have enough units on time?
No, I don't do it usually, but because of the bunker. Going down in the early game, you mean, right?
You didn't scout? Oh, the bunker at
Yes.
your natural. I think we missed that. So, cool.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. Isno, I think you did a good aggression, but we can feel the freestyle. And while that is confusing for the opponent, I'm sure you know too, it can be slightly a sacrifice to important timings. And we keep in mind that you say sometimes you lose to early game rushes from Protoss. Yeah. And mainly what Jona also said, the turning point usually is when Stimpack finishes, which can finish pre 9 minutes. But you first go concussive, which...
Yeah, and then I forgot about Stim.
And then forgot Stim, yeah. So it's like double, yeah? And you also had a lot of downtime on barracks, so try to look at that.
Yeah, at the thieving I was pretty good the entire game, and everything went really well. And then I go into the late game against Protoss, and I just fall apart. Mainly the engagements are, I think, very difficult for Terran, because one missed EMP or anything, and you just lose because a storm hits you right on the face. And
so you have no confidence in the late game, yeah?
Yeah. In the late game, I feel pretty confident. I feel pretty confident in the late game, but when I just have like 2 or 3 ghosts instead of like 20 ghosts, that's the point that I'm most vulnerable.
Okay, so there's 2 things you can do. You can try to get better at that or understand some things better about it, or you can try to finish earlier.
Yeah, I think
or you can try to go super late.
I could have finished with pulling all my SCVs from all the bases and just went for it.
Actually,
I'm not sure you could.
I'm not sure you could.
Okay.
You
were-
I had that feeling at least.
You
It was
were-
equal supply.
Yeah, equal supply, or maybe it's even slightly behind. Your upgrades were.
Yeah, but
done
I
in
had
time.
a lot of Vikings, and he didn't have Storm yet. At least at the point that I killed his third.
You had when you first pulled the SCVs, you had 0 medivacs, which means you were on a
that's
clock if you were to fight. If he force field and wait, it could be difficult.
Yeah, that's also why I just killed the third and went back. And
That was a
then
good
he
decision
left.
to go back. But if you don't like the early late game, you only like the super late game. I agree with you, by the way. The early late game is good for us, for Protoss, and the super late game good for Terran. But I feel like you should make a decision, because what I don't get is that you are making a decision. Either pull Vikings when your upgrades finish, pull Viking SCV, but you went at 50% 2-2, and
Yeah,
only make
sure.
one eBay. But if you do go to eBay, go straight for 3-3, 5, 6, 7, 8 orbitals, 2 planetary fortress, sensor towers, turrets everywhere, so that they can't attack into you, and maybe you can't attack into them, but they can't attack into you.
Yeah.
And eventually you get lots of scan, nuke, 20 ghost. But it's more important to be decisive than right, I think. It's okay to be wrong, but be wrong decisively, and not 2-2, but then attack anyway with SCV, but then back anyway, then ghost, but attack up a bad ramp anyway. So like you have to make some decisions, I think. Try to, whatever you do, it can even be a cheese. I think we like to see it too, but whatever it is, try to align all the purposes together. So go on upgrade finish timing, because we're not only playing general match, we're now working on the timing part. And if 2-2 finish, you have a very strong timing.
Yeah.
But 1-1, you were equal upgrades.
Yeah, plus making 2 eBays only really functions if you go for 2-2 or 3-3. Going for 1-1 with 2 eBays does almost never make sense, because you get very little benefit out of the
Do
second
you think
eBay.
I should go 1 eBay, then when it's halfway, then make armory and second eBay?
That's good. It depends on what type of game you want to play. If you want to play a SCV pool, I don't think you need to. I'm not sure actually, but
I
think
usually never SCV pool because I
okay.
just play straight up macro, but I had the feeling this time that I could pull
Because
it
you
off.
killed Robo or something,
Yeah.
cancelled
yeah,
third.
okay.
I think you can go. I think SCV pool is a very legit and fun strategy to use, and it's very effective. I don't think you should necessarily discount it. But
But
if
it was also like a bit of a fake SCV pool, because I only pulled like 10 or 15 workers, and I wanted to scare him off and made him sacrifice something.
It worked.
Which in this case made him sacrifice.
But I'm
a
not
third.
sure if it's worth it in the end.
I think 10 was pretty worth it if
Okay.
it was 10. But yeah, you can also try like early eBay and go for 1-0, 1-1, 2-1 with armory. 2 eBay is very uncommon right now, because that early late game is difficult. So when you go to eBay, you delay ghost,
Yeah.
and you delay more Vikings.
Mhm.
You don't see it much anymore.
Okay.
But if you do it, go for 3-3. That's sick.
Yeah, go for the
And then play lots of drops.
Yeah, I was really gas starved, so I just couldn't make the upgrades.
Yeah, and that's why, because of the 2 eBays. But yeah, nice game. Play another. And I want to talk with Genix a bit, because maybe we play one more game normal, and then later we try the other thing. Huh?
Okay, sure.
Ah.
The other thing.
Hey, good luck, guys. Well played. Good luck. Okay, welcome back, guys. We are still working on PVT in pertaining to timings. This is the DSCL Bootcamp. Soon we'll be heading into the second game of Genix versus Isnobest, both of whom who qualified through a qualifier to be here in Nijmegen in the Netherlands at the DSCL Bootcamp. Here, here! All right, next map will be Foxtrot Labs. I'm joined here with Jona.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Grubby, and we'll be casting and later maybe discussing about that game.
Okay, so I'm very curious. There was a time where, because I follow PVT kind of in moments, like sometimes I kind of watch some of it when I'm interested, and at other points I really just only watch Zerg, VODs, and replays just because it doesn't quite interest me enough. Last time I kind of tried to see more of the depth of PVT, and especially the early game when a lot of people were having trouble with the blink stalkers. There was a while where a lot of people were getting a really quick eBay and a quick turret, and then starting +1 quickly. I think Flash started doing this, and then get 1-1, and then usually an SCV timing would follow.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how it developed and how it currently functions.
Yeah, it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Guys, keep in mind you can ask us some questions too about your own issues or questions about these games to either Yona or to me about any matchup, any strategy thing you might be wondering about. This is a bootcamp for you guys online as well. Tweet your questions to @DSCLeague, and we will deal with it at the end of this segment, which should be within the next 10 or 30 minutes, something like that. So for now, we are here in the next Protoss versus Terran on Foxtrot Labs. Yona, you mentioned the SCV pools. It is still a very feared weapon that should be employed with extreme prejudice against Protoss. It's a good build to pool your SCVs and buffer that attack to hit a crucial timing. It is the perfect example of the segment that we're talking about now. If you don't SCV pool, then you have different kinds of attack, different goals. For instance, you're playing against someone who's making Colossi, and they're supporting it with Zealots, a few Sentries, Stalkers, but they don't have Storm yet. You can make a lot of Vikings and kill the Colossi as quickly as possible, and then make sure the Zealots can't get to your army with your SCVs. It makes a lot of sense. Now, if you don't make SCVs, you can do the same thing, but the part where you normally combat the Protoss to utter attrition, where both lose everything and you win with the last few reinforcements, instead you will kill the Colossi with your Vikings, and you'll fight, and then you start stutter stepping back and start saving the rest of your own army again and go into a later game. Okay. And you will not have lost any SCVs, but you reset their Colossus scan. That will usually be the other goal.
Yeah.
And then there's the third point which they can do, which is not early mass Viking and do that kind of Colossus reset, but instead a heavy medivac play, 4 medivacs or 6 medivacs or 8.
This seems very
and
popular.
multi-drop everywhere.
Seems very popular recently.
Yeah.
See a lot of dropping and doom dropping, and just people keep making medivacs and
Polt, Maru.
Yeah. Cure. I saw it in DSCL Season 3, I think, and recently Byung. Yeah, I didn't watch the games, but I got some glimpses of it and looked similar. Yeah. And what about upgrades? What's normal for Terran to start upgrades at right now?
Well, you have basically 2 builds. You've got the 3 barracks with the CC, oftentimes CC first, but sometimes with Reaper, actually quite often as well. And then like 2-3 barracks, factory starport, and the eBay somewhere along the way, like 6 minutes, 7 minutes. But you've also got the very early eBay after 1 barracks, and then second eBay with a reactor and a tech lab. And then you get such an early +1 and 1-1. All you need after that is just 1 more armory, the second attack upgrade, and it will be so early because you started it early, and that will be the timing you hit. And this should be around 12, 13 minutes or 14.
That build specifically, once you hit the upgrade timing, it's less drop and late game oriented.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, it's not that starts the...
Oh yeah.
2 eBase what?
2 eBase is getting less popular.
Yeah, and for Protoss, double forge is not that popular either, right?
That's true.
It seems like in a lot of the in a lot of the PvT metagames, it starts to like whoever has power in the matchup controls how much upgrades happen almost.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when Protoss was not having trouble with Terran, they would double upgrade a lot, and
we
Terran
do it if we can at all.
Exactly. So. It's interesting. There's 4 mining on gas, and I know like it doesn't matter that much because he has full mineral saturation.
Yeah, but you'll feel the pain a little bit from that. That's true.
It's a thorn in my eye.
It's kind of annoying. It makes him even have more losses than he should have. He wasn't making probes for a while, which is kind of a forced error, I suppose, but not strictly necessary.
Yeah.
Robo 10 seconds later than it was last game, that kind of thing. And he may even lose some units if he's not careful.
I really don't like targeting the SCV there, yeah.
The best thing to do, because the Marines attack faster, is to move in and out of combat. Hit once with Stalker, then go back.
Yeah.
but not yet. This isn't technically a threat, only if he makes it one. Like, gas should start now. That's an issue, I guess. Yeah. So this would make a follow-up attack like the one he just did before with concussive shell more dangerous now because photon overcharge was used. We have some barracks downtime again.
Yeah, he started 2 tech labs.
Too
weirdly.
early.
Yeah, normally you just make a lot of Marines, right?
Yep. Lots
You
of Marines.
Get 1
stim
tech
pack,
lab, stim pack, and a lot of Marines.
and then a factory.
Yeah.
You can go triple add-on before factory or starport.
But then you get 2 reactors.
Then you do like a stim pack combat shield.
Ah, stim pack combat shield. Okay.
That's pretty good. You can hit at 8 minutes or 8:30 with stim and combat, giant army, and if that's what he chooses to do, which that's what the story that's being told here, that is very dangerous for Genix because he will only have 1 photon overcharge.
Yeah.
And no time warp.
Is this factory still part of the plan, or does this mean he's
I think you can still
differentiated?
afford it. It could still be the same story.
Okay. So the first time he hits, is that just to force the other photon overcharge, so the drop follow-up is that much stronger, or is it actually a kill timing?
Well, if he had combat shield instead of concussive first,
Yeah.
you can actually probably just stim, run in the photon overcharge and kill everything.
Okay.
And he gets the stalker here, maybe gets the sentry as well.
He's going for it.
If it now activates, that would be perfect for him. So he has to bait out that photon overcharge, losing as little as possible.
Yeah, he activated it.
So now what he can do, he's got that stim pack timing. We've got the Colossus coming out in roughly 40 seconds, if non-stop chrono boosted. Oh.
In this case,
nice! Oh! Nice try, nice try. So once this photon overcharge runs out, Colossus will be just done, but it won't be enough if he kept rallying units. But he didn't rally them. With this army, he can probably win the game already. That's his... that will be very sweet for him.
but now he starts his 3rd base.
That's... I mean, that's kind of okay, I think.
Yeah.
He could also start 4th, 5th barracks. In this case, I like it better.
Because he's already in a good position army-wise, and you want to put
Yeah, I
more
mean,
weight on your strength. in the
Mothership
game.
Core died, Sentry died, he lost other units, the Protoss.
Just make the pressure snowball.
Yeah,
Yeah. That makes sense.
and don't kill the rocks neither. Like, you can just go up and stim for the win.
Yeah, he doesn't know that though. Like, he doesn't know how many sentries there are or gateways
That's
are
true.
made.
But you can always stim up 1 Marine
Yeah.
first. Now, +1 is finishing. Look at this. This is perfect. +1 finish. And he goes in. Perfect by the second. But he's afraid of Colossi.
Which is understandable. Right? Or should he have just fought there?
If he chased the first one, I think he will get it and kill it. And then maybe he will lose everything else to the second one.
Yeah, okay. So, but that would have been worth it, killing 1 Colossus, or not?
I feel like he should, because
He
he
won.
delayed the starport so much. And, well, the second part of the army was slow.
Yeah.
Was slow to arrive. There was more in it. But given the situation, I think if he microed correctly, like Marines to the back, Marauders to the front, he could stim it and kill it. And Colossus have a severe tipping point once they get range in 3rd Colossus.
Okay.
It's worth a lot more than their cost. But 1 Colossus is worth a lot less than his cost. So it's okay to trade unfavorably against the first 1 or even 2 Colossus. If you can kill both and lose double as much resources, it's almost worth it. Or maybe
Because
it's worth it.
You extend the period of time where the Colossus are undervalued in their army.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have Medivac, you have better upgrade, they still have low amount. But now he's the one that will get pushed. His starport was late and now there's 3 Colossi. Even if he has 30% more army, which he does not, but even if he did, he would be in trouble because too many Colossus with range.
Is there any specific reason why this orbital is just floating there?
Why what?
Why the orbital is like hanging in the middle of the fight?
Yeah, to deny stalker fire a bit.
Oh, it worked actually.
Yeah,
It did attack
a
the
little
middle.
bit.
It's not completely pointless.
Time warp will be very difficult to stim forward and get Colossi. They're so far out of reach. He should have pulled all his SCVs to attack, but he might still be able to salvage it. There's a lot of Marauders, pretty good spread. Still attacking bunker this Colossus, so the splash damage isn't worth much. It's like a weak stalker attacking that bunker. And he actually pushes back this army. lost a lot of SCV, so the game might go on. There is still Blink here with the Stalkers, so he doesn't have to lose everything. Very close game. Bigger army for the Terran, but may not be able to finish it, and that should probably give Genix the reinforcements he needs. But look, 2-1 finishing against 0-1.
And Genix isn't transitioning, he's just warping in, he wants to force it.
So this is very, very tight situation. There's 2 bunkers. I feel like more SCVs should come from the main to defend. There's a chance here for Terran to crush this. Almost his +2 finishes. A little bit too late. Okay, it's finished now. There is a possibility for him to turn this.
It's a bit of a weird game, honestly. Like a lot of early game messiness, which then could have snowballed really hard for Terran, and then Protoss decided to Colossus all in, probably because he wasn't comfortable going into a long game after.
And I think he understood there was a late starport. So
oh, really? Okay.
Fewer Vikings.
So you think he just seized the opportunity?
Yeah, but it looks like it backfired.
I think it has a lot to do with the early game pickoffs that Terran made. Like it didn't, like an all-in wasn't the best choice for Protoss, I feel. Like
I think he just needed more sentries.
Okay, so
maybe
maybe because Isnobest didn't make starports that early, it could have worked. But I feel like almost every time if you do damage like that, or take damage as a player, it's almost always better to prolong the game rather than try to whiff out one attack.
Well, I think against such a delayed starport, we pretty much always Colossus all in.
Okay.
Like we always can, but we need like 6 sentries. Like Blink is not as important as a lot of sentries. I
just
think.
no Blink, not even a Twilight.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah, not Twilight, just a lot of sentries and then Colossus, 3 Colossus and push.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, are we gonna talk to the players or try something?
You got a good 10 minutes left. You can talk to them a
With
little bit and then do some Twitter questions.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay. I think that was a lot better game than the last one. For Isnobest.
Yeah. He started stim.
Yeah, Isno. Nice triple threat. You came early, photon overcharge with the bunker.
Yeah, that was the idea.
Is that when you start thinking like, okay, nice, photon
I
overcharge?
always try that to make the bunker and see how many Marines get in, and if about 4 Marines get in, I sometimes even get the Nexus kill.
Right.
And if I only get like 2 Marines, most of the time they get a photon overcharge. I get some fast Marauder with concussive shell, and then try again. But this time he had 3 Stalkers, so he was pretty prepared.
Ah.
Yeah, because sometimes they only are very greedy and only go like 1 sentry, 1 Stalker, and then I come with 5 Marines and a Marauder, and yeah.
Yeah. So I like it because this is not technically, say, the way that other people play, but it's consistent for you, and you say there's a high probability of photon overcharge. Then you can start making follow-up plans. In your case, triple add-on, heavy attack. You came again, killed Mothership Core, Sentry, Stalker, Zealot, almost another Stalker on the high ground. Nice move. And then so the other photon overcharge. But I think you had a window to just utterly crush already. If you rallied all your units across, you just focus on AD, make Marines and Marauders. You come in with Stim, because he would only have had 1 Colossus. By the time you went, he had 2.
I came like 10 or 20 seconds too late for sure.
Yeah. Your +1 did just finish, so that was nice.
And also, exactly at that time, my Stim and concussive Marine Shield.
Yeah, combat shield.
Combat shield. Yeah, that finished also at that time.
Yeah.
And going into a Colossus without combat shield is just suicide. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So way better on the timings. Also, when you defended against his push, 2-1 was finishing. So again, it was like it was a good game flow for you. So well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Genix, I agree with your decision to do a 3 Colossus all in. You didn't lose any of them. You did suffer other losses, which made it less attractive to go into a longer game. Not enough forge upgrades.
I'm curious, what triggered the decision to go?
Because I didn't lose that many Colossus.
Yeah.
I think 0, right?
0.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't lose any Colossus.
And most of the time they don't have that many Vikings when you hit. So
I agree. It was a correct decision, I think. But I think
enough
you,
sentries.
yeah, you 5 sentry, no blink, and maybe break rock come from the side.
Yeah, but my plan was to go into late game and then skipping blink is you don't just
Okay.
don't do it.
So it was like a debilitating attack, but go back after some damage.
No, it wasn't all in, but it wasn't a planned all in.
Okay, so you had one leg in the macro game already, and then you thought, okay, let's now attack anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, still more sentries, I think. It could have worked. Mostly execution. Yeah, but I think it was a good game from you too, and it was a close hold by Isno. Nice games. No
Okay.
more time for another, but nice games. We'll talk more later.
And you
Now
can
this on
still.
Twitter.
I don't know who's in the next segment actually.
Oh yeah, I mean they can play, of course.
Yeah.
We'll figure out. We'll go to some Twitter questions. Thanks, guys. Well played. All right.
Now.
Hit me. Yeah, if there's any questions, feel free to put them at the bottom. Chevelle SC, once again with the question. Thanks for the question. Real talk. How does Protoss deal with the stim timing on the Nexus most efficiently after T baited the overcharge earlier? It's difficult. Basically, you want to go back in time and make sure that you already had your RoboBase started at 6:45 and not much later than that, 6:45 just about, because you want to get that Colossus as quickly as possible. And so, because you don't know whether they're gonna do that attack or not, that's why you always have to open like that.
What builders specifically struggle with the sim timing, and what kind of builds specifically deal well with it?
I think if you're going for like a 4-gate blink and you see that they're doing that, you can actually slaughter it along the way,
Yeah.
push back and win. But if you are, like we're talking about repeatable builds,
Yeah.
yeah,
sure.
so then you would always have to go blink
Okay.
because you can't know in advance whether they're going to do it. It's almost unscoutable. Your robo finishes at 6 or 6:15. You make observer, finish at 6:40. You send it over, depending on the map, you arrive at 7:30, and they can hit you between 8 and 8:30. So you have like 30 seconds to react, but you can't start any buildings and use them anymore. So you need to have a robo, you need to have 3 gates, and chrono boost whatever you can. If it's not a Colossus, make an immortal, maybe some more sentries, maybe a cannon if you open with a forge. There are lots of different Protoss builds, but whatever it is, get ready now to defend it. But deceptively so, you also can't stop making probes, because the Terran is not behind, they just change the order of things. Marines, Marauders is something they always make, stim, combat, and they also keep making SCVs, so you have to defend well, and you can't, at the same time you can't overreact. You may not make 7 sentries, but you also can't lose much. It's a difficult attack, but the best friend will be an early Colossus, and more than 1 sentry.
Okay. Next question, I guess.
Yeah, next question.
In ZVP, where you know a specific timing is coming, is it worth to cut drones earlier to have more units out to hold it better? Yeah, obviously. If you know you're getting immortal in, you're not going to rush to 80 drones. There's always moments for Zerg to cut drones, but it's very important to know what the correct moment is to cut drones, because you can lose to all-ins because you could cut drones too quickly, and you can lose to all-ins because you cut drones too late. So it's very important to know specifically what the right amount of drones is and what the right timing is. So let's say your favorite Zerg player, let's say Sue, because he's currently in, or he used to be in good shape. Let's say he holds immortal all-ins with 55 drones. And the immortal all-in hits around the same time. Of course this is not true because your opponent is much worse, but what if it did? It's important that you cut drones at 55, but it's also important you get to 55 drones as quickly as he did. So if you're struggling against an all-in, both of these factors are important to weigh in. It's important to observe if you have enough drones to hold all-in, so if you can continuously produce enough units to keep up with the warpins. And it's also important to know if you reach the drone count necessary to stop the all-in quickly enough. But it's definitely necessary to stop drone production in certain situations.
Yeah, and the funny thing is there's no such word as safe in StarCraft. It's not safe to stop drones earlier. There's only right. So there's only a right drone count to stop, because if the Protoss notice or he's inclined to delay a lot after he gets to your doorstep, and you had 48 drones, you're gonna die too, but in 2 minutes later. So just get it right. That's all we ask. And
Do the right thing.
yeah. And generally, we can say like the Zerg needs to have 55 drone to stop Immortal in. It needs to have 62 drone to stop blah 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 blah. But if you want to form your own formula, you can always watch the replay, and we can say probably your base up 3 against 2, maybe 3 against 3, but it's enough for Zerg to be between
5 and 10.
5 to 11, 5 to 10 drones ahead. That will allow you to wait together with the Protoss, either defend or wait. So try to be about 5 or 10 ahead, and you will learn from experience and watching replays.
The early all-ins, like the super quick blink all-ins from gate expands and stuff, you want to get 5 drones ahead, and the later all-ins, like the Colossus pushes, you want to be more to the 10. So like, but that's I think that speaks kind of naturally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any more questions? At necessarily 3 asks, timings are what we expect in SC2, so we are filled with rage when people deviate and still win. How do we learn from untimings?
So basically, if your opponent is playing incorrect,
Yeah, that's
technically,
interesting.
even I struggle with this sometimes, where stuff doesn't make sense and I lose because it doesn't make sense to me. But I think the best response is always that if you play as close to perfect as possible, the general army you have kind of wins against untimings.
Yeah, but I think you need to decide beforehand. Like, for example, I can speak from my point of view. I play against Zerg. Let's say the backbone of my army is Stalkers and Sentries. If the opponent makes Muta, I make Phoenix. If the opponent makes Swarmos, I make Colossus. And if the opponent makes Ultralisk, I make Immortals. If I don't know what the opponent makes, I still have to make a choice. And so I make the choice that is most okay against everything. So for instance, I will add a few Immortal, like 2 Immortal, 2 Colossus, and then Storm. Let's say I know absolutely nothing and I have no way to find out. And something in that direction exists for every race, where if what they're doing doesn't make sense or you have difficult to read, you can still make something kind of standard which can work with it. And what I try to always say when I coach is, someone does, let's say someone makes 20 drones only. I see it and I have 30 workers. I say 20 drones makes no sense, it's way too little, he's going to attack me. I make 10 cannons, let's say 5 cannons. If I'm wrong and he continued to make drones after, I'm wrong against someone who's very unoptimal. He's doing a very bad version of a build. So even though I'm wrong against a noob, right? Which is okay, because I can come back against the noob. Now, if I see 20 drones and I'm like, you're just macroing poorly, lol, you're gonna make drones later, I'm so far ahead, go to 40 probes, 50. Now I'm wrong against someone who really is doing a bailing bust. That's bad. Being wrong against something which seems obvious. So I suggest you see something, you try to logically deduce what it is going to be and what it should be based on what you see. Don't be angry if it's not. It's war, bro. Everything is fair in love and war. Don't be angry, but be satisfied that you prepared against it, and if it's wrong, then you prepared against someone who's doing wrong stuff, and it's probably going to be a little bit weaker. Keep that in mind, that the numbers game is on your side then.
Yeah.
If you still lose, shucks, can happen, man.
It's very important to keep in mind, though, like, it has to actually be a correct deduction. It's not like, so gateway starts, so you over-prepare and you lose to someone who's not actually doing what you were expecting to do. So after the game, even if you prepared too much or too little, make sure you check what you saw and what you could have seen, and if your deduction was correct. And if then your deduction was correct and the other player was actually playing poorly, then it's okay. Then it's fine to have responded the way you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we covered everything about that. Good question, thanks.
That was it. Oh no, wait.
One more cue. Last one. What should Protoss do versus a Zerg who gets 1/1 speed links to deny the third? Question by Set the Ray to Brian.
You want to answer this or?
I don't know actually.
You don't know. You lose it every time.
I speak too much already.
I'll remember for practice. No, but I think against 1/1 links, it's important to realize that it's 1/1 links. If you see early Evo chambers and you see link speed possibly before lair started, and you realize you make more sentries before you take your third, or as you take your third, you get more sentries out. It's just important to force field well and not panic. Like the moment the links get in contact with your army, you can lose a lot. But as long as you position well and force field well, the links should technically never get in contact with your army. Other than that, I don't know specific answers to how to defend your third. I think with most third base openings, you're always kind of safe. The only thing that comes to mind where I can see it being very difficult for Protoss to kind of hold off a large swell of links if you go directly into Colossus after Phoenix and are caught out of position with your army.
Yeah, you might be a Phoenix Colossus player, but if you're not, and you have like 3-4 gateways to hold your third, then try to do like 2 Zealot, 2 Sentry warp in from the first warp in instead of like 4 Sentry. 4 Sentry is technically optimal, so if you want to do like 3 base, Mass Sentry into Mass Stalker, okay, you're on the right way, you've explored the limits of your greed, because you'll start to accrue more energy on your sentries, but eventually you say, okay, I lose too much of a percentage of my games to 1/1 links on my third, so I will now make a long-term adjustment until I get new information or change my mind to adjust to the metagame, where I say I have 3 Zealots and 7 Sentry when I defend my third or when I do a move out, rather than 1 Zealot 9 Sentry, because it's just a little bit more forgiving to miss one gap in your force field when there's 3 Sentries chugging away the links than an utter hug by the links to your Sentries. So try to make those kind of adjustments, and then even when it stops being relevant, people stop links, you can still keep making the 3 Zealots because you're a person who doesn't like to lose to that kind of stuff, or because you know that threat could resurface at any time.
Yeah, and I think most important is not to be that guy that stands between your bases with your army. Keep your base, keep your army close to your nexus and keep it on hold position.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Hold position against the nexus. Very few people do that below GM, and it's very important. Actually, chess piece, the Zealots on the outside, Sentries on the inside, hold position. And always keep a gap in your natural plugged by a hold position Zealot.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks for the question, guys. Very good questions. We will be briefly, do we have a brief break or we go? Brief commercial break, and then we will enter the next segment,
which is
expansion and economy management. And our 2 guinea pigs are Genix and Talandros, a Protoss and a Zerg. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll be back very briefly after this break. Oh, nice.